Saints Row, Gat Out of Hell. Originally released in January of 2015. Available on PlayStation, Xbox, Windows, and Linux platforms. This is the last game in the original Saints Row series. And much like the earlier games, this is an open-world game. And much like Saints Row 4, you have powers. Only instead of having sci-fi powers, because this game does take place in hell, you have supernatural powers that work pretty much the same as the science fiction powers in Saints Row 4. Also, in this game you don't play as the boss. Instead, you play as one of two characters. Johnny Gat, who has been around since the original game, or as Kinsey Kensington, who was first introduced in Saints Row 3. There's a set location where you can switch between these characters whenever you like. The difference is mostly cosmetic. There is no gameplay change between the two. However, if you want to get all collectibles, you will have to play as both, as each has different observations about hell to collect. And you might be asking, well, why are we in hell exactly? Well, in the opening cinematic, we see the Saints adjusting to life without any Earth as it got destroyed in the last game. They pass the time with a Ouija board, and it ends up opening a gate to hell, and the boss, the protagonist from the other Saints Row games, gets sucked into hell. Apparently, Satan himself wishes to marry the boss off to his daughter. It's sorta like the movie Petey Wheatstraw, if it was about Petey's friends. And Johnny and Kinsey jump through the portal to try to save the boss. Hell is about what you might expect. There's a lot of lava and ruins, and a lot of the characters that were killed in previous Saints Row games have ended up here. In fact, Jay Moore's character from Saints Row 2 is one of your primary allies this time around. Apparently Hell had a lot of opportunities for him to grow a business somehow. Gameplay is exactly what you would expect from a Saints Row game. You go around the map and you play mini-games. Play enough of them, and you can do some story missions. The story progresses exactly as you would expect too, where you recruit some allies to fight the bad guy du jour. Your allies this time are historical figures, however. Shakespeare, Vlad the Impaler, Blackbeard the Pirate. The only real unique aspect is that oftentimes the story parts of the game are given to you in a weird storybook aesthetic. There is an old woman narrating those parts for some reason. The game itself is very reference-heavy, both referencing various parts of Judeo-Christian mythology, and referencing things from the Saints Row series. Most of this is done in a tongue-in-cheek fashion, like having weapons that represent the 7 deadly sins, or a recurring mission where you torture an unpopular character from the first game. And while a lot of the mini-games return from older games, they have a new twist on them to make them theme-appropriate. Insurance fraud, for example, isn't about money this time around. Instead, it's about taking years off of the sentences in hell souls are serving. It's very obvious that Saints Row Gat Out of Hell was built off of Saints Row 4, as most of the problems from that game return here. You have the option of stealing cars at any time. But since you can fly and run super fast, what's the point of ever stealing a car? You can upgrade all your weapons, but you also get powers for offense, so what's really the point of upgrading the vast majority of the weapons? The ending is also somewhat of a letdown, as the ending this time around is literally multiple choice, with each one hinting at a potential sequel, none of which ever actually happened. Instead, we got a completely unconnected reboot. And yes, I know that isn't this game's fault. So is Saints Row Gat Out of Hell worth your time and money? Considering that these days it comes bundled with the remasters of Saints Row 4, and that package itself is only $20 on all platforms, yes, this game is worth taking a look at. It's a very short experience, but it's still a worthwhile Saints Row game. And there is something fun about causing chaos in hell as opposed to a standard city this time around. Please do subscribe, comment, like, and tell your friends.